Empathy is supposed to be our superpower, a sign of high emotional intelligence. We think if people just knew more, if they just had all the facts, then they'd be more kinder, they'd be more caring, they'd do better and be better. However, the opposite seems to be true. Today we have more information, AI, books, social media, podcasts, and it's actually making us less empathetic. This is what I call the corrosion of empathy, and it's quietly reshaping our relationships, our communities, and our politics. In this video, I'm going to explain what it is, why it's happening, and what we can do about it. I am Myisha Cherry. I'm a professor of philosophy at the University of California, Riverside, the author of such books as The Case for Rage and Failures of Forgiveness, and your guide through the messy yet beautiful world of human emotion. Let's get into it. So empathy corrosion happens when our ability to feel for and with others wears away. We still see the suffering, but it doesn't move us in the same way. So much so that we might eventually come to believe that the people or the person is not actually suffering at all. Think about how you first reacted to the first shocking headline that you've ever seen. And now compare that to the fifth shocking headline that you've seen this week. First time, you felt deeply, but now you might say that's awful and keep scrolling. In the age of endless feeds, it's not that we lack awareness, we're drowning in it. And ironically, that flood of awareness can numb us instead of move us. So how is this possible? Well, first, there's information overload. When every single day brings you a new crisis, our minds can't give each one the emotional energy that it deserves. So we can serve, and our empathy gets rationed. And then there's emotional burnout. Compassion fatigue it's real. If you're constantly witnessing suffering online and in person, your brain might be protecting you by dialing down your emotional response. There's also tribal thinking. Our empathy is also biased. The Scottish Enlightenment philosopher Adam Smith once said that the degree into which we have empathy is impacted by the closeness of the individual to us. So it's based on their proximity towards us, but it's also based on kind of our relational closeness. So in other words, I have empathy for those who I can see, who I can touch, who I'm in relationship with, more than those that I am not. And contemporary studies have shown that we tend to empathize more with people who are like us. And we empathize less with those that we consider other. And unfortunately, polarization has made this gap even bigger. Another reason why our empathy has been corroded has to do with cynicism and distrust. In an era of misinformation, people start doubting stories of suffering. Instead of being immediately moved, they ask, is this real or fake news? Is this AI or is it Photoshop? And it's this hesitation that blocks the natural flow of empathy. The good news is that there is something that we can do about this. So what can we do to keep the flow of empathy? First, we need to practice deliberate attention. So what might this look like? It's pausing before we scroll past someone's pain. It's imagining if that was your friend or your neighbor. It's letting the feeling land before we turn the page. Another thing we can do is create space for reflection. In fast media cycles, we rarely pause to digest what we've just taken in, what we've just seen. So conversations, journaling, or even just having a quiet moment to yourself can help empathy settle in instead of washing away. We can also balance empathy with action. We can put our empathy to work so it won't disappear. And we do this just through small, consistent actions like donating or volunteering or checking in on the person that we love. And it's this action that can keep empathy alive. Another thing we can do is to narrow our focus. You don't have to respond to every injustice at once. You don't have to respond to everybody's problem at once. You can pick one or two causes. You can help one friend at a time. And by doing this, you can care more and do more because you're not spread so thin. And lastly, we can have a no excuses mentality. Even if you can't feel someone's pain, someone's suffering. This doesn't mean that you get to sit it out. We still have a responsibility to act, to love those that we claim to love. We still have a responsibility to fight for what's right, to pursue justice. So empathy without action is just a feeling, but action without empathy can still change the world and our relationships. So just act anyway, and the empathy may follow. And even if it doesn't, you can still rest knowing that you did the right thing. Corrosion of empathy isn't inevitable. Stopping it just requires intention. So my challenge for you is to be intentional. We are not built to be cold or indifferent in the face of suffering. We are social creatures. And despite what any political ideology may tell you, we are all part of the human race. Every person has inherent worth and value, and responding to their humanity and our own with emotions like empathy is dignifying to us all. If you have any suggestions on how to maintain and to cultivate empathy, please leave them in the comments. And if this video has been helpful or insightful, please share it with someone who might be feeling numb. I'll see you in the next video.